how will Michigan perform in their first road game this season?
All right, here's what we know, okay? We know Michigan's offense is pretty good. We know Blake Corum's the real deal, right? I mean, goodness gracious. Yeah, all right, well, Donovan Edwards is going to be out today. He's going to be out the last couple of weeks. Oh, no problem. I'll just run it 30 times myself for 250. All right, so I'm not that concerned about their offensive firepower and in particular their ability to run the football with Blake Corum. I'd love for Edwards to get back. It's nice to take a little load off his plate, but either way, I think that is something that's going to be very, very interesting to monitor moving forward. I think J.J. McCarthy, the moment last week, granted, the guy started 3 games now. I know he's played a lot of football, but he started 3 games. There were a couple moments last week where he just wasn't quite as efficient as he was earlier in the season against subpar personnel. Understandable, right? We all talked about the numbers. I mean, you're not going to complete like 85% of your passes throughout the course of a 12-game season. It's just not going to happen, okay? If you do, just go ahead and just take your talents to the next level. This game's too easy for you, okay? I don't think that's the case for J.J. McCarthy because there were a couple of issues last week. Put the ball on the deck a couple times. Granted, both were recovered by Michigan. That's a little bit of a problem. And they missed, I counted 3 inaccurate downfield passes that he's going to have to connect on against quality competition as they move forward. There were also some times where he kind of took a while in the pocket and made me just a little bit uncomfortable because it was as if he was just waiting to kind of just get hit. And I didn't like the look of that. The kid's got all-world potential, so I'm holding him to a high standard, but I expect him to get there. And he's going to have to get there sooner than later, especially when you go on the road. Missed throws and fumbles are massive momentum swingers, especially when you're on the road. Let's go to Michigan's defense, all right? We know that the rushing attack that Maryland threw at them, not one of the best in college football by any stretch, but a solid group nonetheless. I think they have a 1-2 punch that are pretty dang dynamic. I was not super impressed with what I saw from Michigan's rush defense. All right, they gave up 128 yards on the ground. You're going to sit there and say, well, that's really not that many. Correct, but this is also a team that in Maryland that for the most part abandoned the run, especially in the second quarter. So if they would have committed to it for 4 quarters, maybe those numbers would have been a little bit different. The other thing I was a little concerned about with Michigan is their lack of a consistent pass rush. I thought that showed up a little bit in the first half of the football game. Now Minter got going a little bit in the second half, but it took a little while to get there. And Taulia Tagovailoa felt like he kind of had all day to kind of survey the field there, at least in the first half of the football game. I want to go through the last 6 home games for the Iowa Hawkeyes, okay, against AP top 5 foes. All right, you ready for this stat? They are a cool 5-1. The last 5 home games against AP top 5 foes. This will not be the last time I tell you this stat, by the way. In 2008, they beat number 3 Penn State. In 2010, they beat number 5 Michigan State. In 2016, they beat number 2 Michigan. In 2017, this was the one they lost. They lost to Penn State. They were number 4 at the time. 2017, they beat Ohio State. They were number 3 at the time. Remember this one, 55-24. The beatdown of the Buckeyes that afternoon. I remember it vividly like it was yesterday. And then in 2021, they beat then number 4 Penn State 23-20. Which, by the way, I don't remember Penn State ever being number 4, but that's a conversation for another day. But those are the last 6 games against AP top 5 teams at Iowa. Okay? So be careful, Michigan. This is a dangerous game. Everyone's making fun of Iowa's offense. Fine. Be careful.
This has all the makings of an 18-14 game. It just feels that way.
With
right?
9 safeties?
Like, oh, yeah, you could.
9 safeties?
Yeah, you can see it. You can see it happening.